We're live. Hey, all right, all right, all right. Hello, community. This is You Can't Make This Shit Up. Joel Hawksley, David Washington, your hosts. We are at the, I almost forgot there, the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society here in Altamont Springs. And today we're going to talk about AI.
Are we live?
We are live.
I'm sorry, I was just on my AI. Dang, our topic is AI, so I was just on my AI, and I'm starting to get addicted to it.
Right.
Like I spend hours making pictures, and
Oh, yeah.
I just showed you some cats that I was doing. So I actually put some of it on my what's that one? Instagram, because everything's pictures on Instagram.
Right.
So I have this cat. If you look at my last one, I have this cat looking puzzled, and then the next picture is of an astronaut, and then the next one is the cat is an astronaut, and then they're looking at another astronaut who's floating, and then the next one is the floating.
this AI is a game changer. I think we all can say that. As far as my perspective, the level
wait a
of
minute.
productivity.
That's at YELSKWAH. Make sure you spell my last name backwards on that Instagram, because guess what? I want you there. I want you to see the picture.
Right.
Sorry, Dave.
It's no, it's okay. The technology is a game changer as far as the productivity that it provides, the increase in productivity, the utility, depending on what field you're in, what expertise you have, the utility could be amazing. And for some of us, it's just another tool.
So the article that caused this conversation is pretty interesting, in the fact that I like what England is doing. I like what England is doing.
Okay.
It compares what Europe is doing, and I'm going to get into it, guys. I'm not avoiding it, but the EU is looking to do everything in this one department,
Right.
but they're finding that AI is growing so fast that the one unit can't keep up. So you can't keep making these regulations and trying to figure out how to regulate it, and something else pops up. Something else is, it's new. You can.
Right.
So it's even being used in, people stealing from people. We talked about that in the past, but England's approach is going to be, each department needs to be paying attention to AI and make the regulations as it changes to keep up with them. And that means if I'm in transportation and it's affecting me in transportation, I can ask for the regulation to be implemented from my department.
Right. So the thought of regulation stems from different um, talking points. And one of the main talking points is the fact that people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Sam Altman, Andrew Yang have signed on to a statement stating that, maybe we should slow down investment in AI because this technology is moving so quickly. And I get that. I understand that. However, in making that statement, in the way it's saying, hey, this stuff is too powerful for you, the average Joe, but trust us, we know what we're doing, and we'll guide you along the way. In the way it's saying, hey, we're going to make more money off of this, more investment for us.
Well, Elon Musk, like you were saying,
another point is that you know eh, at the consumer level, the retail level, the AI that's made available through the uh, browser extensions that's available through Google or Microsoft or OpenAI's ChatGPT, is fine and good. The large language models that are made available have increased productivity, and there is utility for that. However, at that level, there's really no existential threat to the world. And as I've worked with AI, I found some limitations that are just mind-boggling and incredibly unuseful. And as it learns me, as I learn it, I'm sure the results will get better. However, you really need to know the product that you're using to get the most out
Yeah.
of it.
So David, if you're trying to write a risque book,
Mhm.
Chat GPT is not the place to be.
Nah,
Now,
I want to use
because
ChatGPT.
because Chat GTP has, you know, barriers. It won't go in certain places. It
Mhm.
won't do descriptions of, you know, intimacy. So it has those barriers. But again, to talk about regulation is because the part that maybe you're not playing with, but I started to look at is how do they hack these things? How do they break them? So there's Dan, you know, do anything now is what Dan stands for.
Okay.
And Dan does anything now. Chat GPT gives you the message that says, you can't say that.
Right.
But it goes a little, it gets a little risky. It does a
Right.
couple of things that, you know, and what I'm saying is they're breaking it.
Right.
And what happens when we get some sex trafficking being done through AI? I mean, that I see is where we need to be focused. Like, what crimes are being committed? People, listen. If my son calls me, if somebody calls me, tells me my son is at the police station, he's been arrested, and he needs $1,000. So get me, 10 $100 gift cards. I already know it's a scam.
Yeah.
Like that, no government agency, nobody's going to take that. I mean, not even a bails bondsman going to call me up and ask
Right.
me for that. But you put my son on the phone because he has a podcast, like we're podcasting. So all of a sudden, what are you looking at? Well, is it true? Does he have my son? I
I,
can now feel that, but I have to convince myself to remember, Joel, it's gift cards. You
right.
know it's a fake,
My
but
concern is the probably on a larger scale that we're always going to have fraud, whether it was by telephone or the internet or AI. We're always going to have fraud. My larger concern is probably more large scale in the fact that AI will be used to, like it was in 2016 through Facebook, used to manipulate voters, manipulate the way people think, the false images or deep fakes that are created and pass off as real. We just recently had a AI generated photo of the bombing of the Pentagon that caused the markets to react in a negative way. Is that kind of regulation on the larger scale that's the concern to me?
well, you're saying, don't scream fire in a crowded theater.
Right.
You're trying to say exactly what I'm saying from a different perspective is
Larger scale.
a larger scale. We have to protect people. We have to have this protection in place, and I get it, but we're going to start seeing fake. We already see
Well, yeah.
fake. We already see fake politicians.
Right.
What now we're going to see, you know, naked. We're going to have naked photos of some of the
It's already started.
greatest stars. Like
Right.
I can see
Oh,
hair.
that's already been out there.
Oh no, I'm
Photoshop.
saying, but it's
Will be
Photoshop.
even
But
more
now it's
realistic.
even more realistic.
But okay, for the celebrities, that's one thing. But what about for for the lower profile celebrities, like you and I? All of a sudden, I do a search for David Washington, and just to see what's out there on the internet, and then I see images of my face, but in a compromising situation or butt naked or something like that. Is that kind of
But then
stuff
it's even worse because
that
they can.
should be
So all of a sudden they hack.
regulated
They hack us.
and identified in a certain way that people pick up on it, that this is an AI
Yeah, well, we have a
generated.
business. We have a business to run. This is not the only thing we do. And what if somebody's putting out fake information and having me talk like a Democrat, you talk like a Republican, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, he's not on your team. That's not true. I criticize my party, but I'm on the team and I'm going to play by the rules.
And people make their judgments just on the general search on the internet before coming to us and saying, hey, I want to work with you or whatever. But whatever's out there, people are going to, that's their first initial impression. And that's the danger. How do we regulate exactly what is true and what is not true? And
Well,
I know that our government is asking the public for input as they put together their policy.
well, a different on a different show, we're going to talk about something that happened in California, but that's exactly what you're talking about. There's a story out there, it's out there, and then all of a sudden there's another story. Nobody's researching the other story, like you and I would do. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we see that one thing that's being presented to us, and then we stop. Whereas we used to be investigative. I used to read two newspapers when I was in Washington, because there's a conservative one and there's a liberal one.
Right, right.
The articles are quite different, but they say the same thing from a different perspective. And if you don't know how your opponent, I don't do this war talk, enemies and stuff, but if you don't know what your opposition is doing or thinking, you're already at a disadvantage.
I I see some pitfalls in the political environment. I see some ethical issues in the political environment. I see some ethical issues for all of us consultants that we would have to face. Information that could be manipulated. We've seen negative advertising or negative material against a particular candidate, whatever. It's a free for all. It's a free for all. Um, with the introduction of AI generated images, it's going to be even more so. And personal ethics will have to come into play with this. The governments are going to be slow to react, and that's a problem. They're reacting instead of being proactive. We're in the strange new land right now for the political practices. So the political utility and what I dwelled in so far, AI has been shit for me.
Well, on that same thing, AI,
as far as research, as
when
far
I
as
ask
political
AI,
research.
when I ask AI just to write something on a subject, 90% of the time I disagree with what it's writing. So it's writing it from already a perspective from the left.
Mm.
So when I'm reading it, I'm going, well, I'm a guy that believes in freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm beyond my party with this word. Freedom is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You try to restrict as little as possible unless it endangers other people. So that's kind of where I stand. But
Right,
where we're going is it's crazy.
right.
The
I,
AI is coming to
I
me.
love the tools. I'm learning a lot of them. I believe that if you're going to be good at it, it's going to take some time to really dwell into, the generative art, AI art that you're doing, or the generative AI that I'm using in creating, models, and
David,
things like that.
David, this is my take on like the art. Let's talk about the art for just 1 second.
Sure.
Because if I'm sitting there and I'm playing with words to get images, and it's like Pinterest. Oh, what if I change this word? What if I change this word?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I have this really beautiful bust um, sitting there on the screen, and I'm going, oh, I can make that even better. So let me change this. Let me change this. It does a terrible job making John Adams, but everybody, even it does a beautiful job with Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what image you're looking for. But tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it and taking a photo. Like you'd think that the easiest thing is to take a photo and just say, I'd like it copied, right?
Mhm.
Just I want it watercolor, or I want this, or I want, but it's not doing that because it's not
How,
able to
how do you
quite get there.
monetize that in what we do?
Oh, to monetize it is to attach it to your NFTs. If you have the copyright to what you're making, and you need to produce, a lot of NFTs. Say we need one for each president, we can have one for each president. So NFT wise, it's a great tool to move quickly in that field. But now you have the artists. Listen, Adobe has now added it to Photoshop. It's
Right.
now added it to, these where people have been working diligently to create this from scratch.
Right. So you have uh, copyright rights, copyright rights to those images that you've
Yeah,
created.
if you buy the program,
Oh, if you buy the
if you buy the
program.
program, but if you're doing it for free, there's always there's a catch, because behind it says who created it. The only way that that's taken off is if you pay for the program, and you should all, but you should always give credit to the artist. So
Right.
I wouldn't take and claim it as mine.
Right.
I'd love to put my signature on these things. They're beautiful. I mean,
Right.
if I could paint like that, that'd be great. But I can't. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to start. You're going to have a subject, and I'm going to have a subject, and we're going to take that subject and put it on paper, and we're going to use the same AI. We're going to have so much similarities in what we've put there for research that we're all of a sudden suing each other for copyright violations, but who really had the copyright? It wasn't even generated by you. The thought wasn't generated by you. It's crazy.
So that's something that as a content creator needs to take into consideration, because it seems like it's murky waters as far as any type of regulation in regards to a situation like what you're talking about.
AI writes some very, so I'm doing my poetry again because I'm
Right.
trying to get my skills. I'm trying to let people know that as far as writing,
Mhm.
you can trust us as an organization, that we have excellent writers. Now, if you enjoy my poetry, then you know that I'm writing. I have writing skills. So that's really only reason I'm bringing it back to life, is because I haven't had a lot of clients right now,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to show them that, look, we have the best writers, we have the best of everything. So how do you teach them that? Through blogging? Well, we have our blogs. I think they're good. I think they're going to interest people, but they have to be intelligent. They have to deliver something. But AI, it's written some good poems. They've been wrong, but I've been playing with it, and I've been teaching it, because I I write a poem, and I put it in there, and it changes it, and it does the same exact thing all the time.
If we can monetize it, I'm all for it.
I think it's monetizable.
Yeah.
I think it's very monetizable, and I think people are monetizing on it right now. As long as you know how to write better than AI, AI can be your base, like your skeleton. Use it a little bit, but don't copy and paste it,
Mhm.
because you copy and paste it, people will know where it came from, because it ends up sounding exactly the same. So I think we can monetize it, but I think the regulation should be by department, not as much a whole department created just to tackle AI. Because I think transportation, AI was in transportation with Elon Musk way before
Oh, sure.
we were able to play with it.
Sure.
Everything comes to us eventually,
Mhm.
and everybody knew that it would. So you can't make this shit up. This is an incredible place to be. It's bringing the markets. That's the new trend in the markets. If you're doing AI,
Mhm.
it's spiking. That'd be your Yahoo. I wish I had put my money in Yahoo 10 years ago.
Again, if the utility is there, if it increases productivity, it's useful. I believe you need to take um, more opportunities to use AI to get comfortable with it, whether it's image generation or if you're creating a spreadsheet or whatever, uh, and make it your own.
No,
But there is a space for, again, for me, on a larger scale, regulation to keep us out of generating misinformation that may lead to war or lead to um, ruining someone's life.
no, I agree. So, I mean, think about this. I needed to write, I needed to write something sympathetic, right? It's not that AI doesn't have emotions, but I needed to write something sympathetic, but I didn't know the details. And I could not think of a sentence that transitioned from where I was going to this because I didn't know the facts behind it. It was 2 words. It was just 2 words. When I asked GTP what I was looking for, it was just 2 words that made the connection that I couldn't think of. But it was like on on a second, it changed it to on a second thought. Second thought was it. Bring me to the second thought, then I was off it, and then I could talk sympathy, even though I was talking business. I couldn't think of the transition. So I mean, it is productivity wise going to help you, but I do think that you need to regulate it in the sense that it has to protect our countries. It has to protect our money. It has to it have to be protections in place. So I agree with you on that. I hate regulating things, but I think legalizing it, putting it in a box for right now, having no no more than this, no more than that
Right.
for right now. So I think we can't make this shit up, and they're making it up.
We're in a new age. Everyone, strap it on.
So
Here we go.
we appreciate you tuning in. This is Joel Hoxley and David Washington of Jay in Washington. Hit like, just subscribe, and just get on all our social because you're going to find we have a lot of fun, and give us your ideas. Thank you.